Have you ever looked at a massive mountain and felt too tired to even take the first step? Many of us have big dreams. We want to learn a new language, write a book, get healthy, or build a better life. But when we look at how much work it takes, we feel completely overwhelmed. We tell ourselves that we need a whole free weekend to start. We wait for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, and the perfect amount of energy. But the perfect moment never arrives, and our dreams stay locked inside our minds. This is exactly how Maya lived her life. Maya was a bright and creative young woman who lived in a busy city, and her apartment was filled with empty notebooks and blank canvases. Maya's biggest dream was to become a writer and an illustrator. She wanted to create beautiful storybooks. However, Maya had a heavy habit of delaying everything. Her desk was always messy, covered in old coffee cups and unpaid bills. Every evening, she would look at her messy room and tell herself that she would organize everything and start writing on Saturday. But when Saturday came, she felt too tired. She would spend hours scrolling on her phone, telling herself that she was just resting and waiting for inspiration to strike. Months passed, and Maya had not written a single page. She felt deeply frustrated with herself. She believed that successful people had some kind of magic energy that she simply did not possess. One chilly Tuesday afternoon, to escape her messy apartment, Maya went for a walk. She wandered into a quiet, older part of the city and discovered a small, dusty cafe. On the side of the cafe building, an elderly man was working on a giant wall. He was creating a mosaic, a large picture made of tiny pieces of colored glass. Maya stood on the sidewalk and watched him. The picture was breathtaking. It showed a huge, glowing tree with deep roots and golden leaves. Julian was holding a small basket of colored glass squares. Very slowly, he picked up one tiny blue square, put a drop of glue on it, and pressed it against the wall. Maya approached him, her eyes wide with amazement. "Excuse me," she said gently. "This is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. How many hours a day do you work on this? You must be out here from sunrise to sunset." Julian turned around and offered her a warm, crinkly smile. He wiped his hands on his apron. "Oh no," he laughed softly. "I am too old to stand out here all day. My back would never survive it. I only work on this for 30 minutes every morning, right after I drink my tea." Maya was shocked. 30 minutes? But this wall is huge. It must take you forever. Julian nodded slowly. "I started 3 years ago. When I began, people walked by and laughed. They saw a crazy old man gluing 3 or 4 little rocks to a dirty wall. They told me I would never finish it." He reached into his basket and pulled out a single, shiny red piece of glass. He handed it to Maya. "People misunderstand how big things are made. They think you need a giant hammer and a lot of noise. But a masterpiece is just 1,000 tiny, quiet decisions." Maya looked down at the small, red glass in her hand. She thought about her empty notebooks and her messy desk. "I want to create things," Maya confessed, her voice shaking slightly. "But every time I sit down, the project feels too big. I get scared, so I do nothing." Julian smiled gently and placed a hand on her shoulder. "You are trying to build the entire wall in one day, my dear. That is why you are exhausted before you even begin. Do not try to write a book. Just place one piece of glass." That evening, Maya returned to her apartment. She did not clean her entire bedroom. Instead, she picked up 3 old coffee cups and put them in the sink. It took exactly 1 minute. The rest of the room was still messy, but her desk had a small, clean space. The next morning, Maya did not try to write a whole chapter. She sat down, opened her notebook, and wrote one single sentence. It felt ridiculous. It felt too small to matter. But she closed the notebook and went to work feeling a tiny spark of pride. The next day, she wrote 2 sentences. She also spent 5 minutes putting her clothes in the closet. The week after that, she decided to put her phone in a drawer for 30 minutes every night before sleep. Instead of scrolling, she read a few pages of a good book. At first, Maya felt like she was playing a silly game. After a whole month, she only had a few pages written. She went back to the cafe, feeling discouraged. Julian was there, carefully placing a yellow square of glass. "It is moving too slowly," Maya told him. "I feel like I am not getting anywhere." Julian stopped and asked Maya to step very close to the wall. "What do you see?" he asked. "I see a bumpy blue square next to a cracked yellow square," she replied. "Now," Julian said, Walk backward across the street. Maya walked backward across the narrow street and looked at the wall again. From a distance, those uneven little squares disappeared. Instead, she saw the magnificent, glowing branches of the golden tree. Up close, a day looks like nothing, Julian called out to her. But step back, and a year looks like magic. Keep placing your pieces. Maya trusted his words. She stopped worrying about finishing her book. She stopped worrying about being perfect. She just focused on her daily pieces of glass. 10 minutes of writing, 10 minutes of walking outside, 5 minutes of cleaning, a few moments of quiet breathing. A year later, the magic Julian promised had arrived. Maya's apartment was clean and peaceful. She felt healthier and happier. And resting on her desk was a thick stack of paper. It was the finished first draft of her storybook. She did not finish it by staying awake for 3 days straight. She did not wait for a burst of magical inspiration. She built her dream quietly, sentence by sentence, morning by morning. We often think that success requires dramatic, exhausting effort. But true transformation is gentle. It happens in the quiet moments of our daily routines. If you want to change your life, do not look at the top of the mountain. Just look at the ground right in front of your feet. Take one small step. Place one small piece of glass. Your masterpiece is waiting to be built.